I wonder what could be keeping him so long. Oh, hello, Jack. I was just beginning to think you were lost.
It ain't Jack. It's me.
Hello, Pete. What brings you around this time of night?
Oh, I was just leaving Lawson when the operator stopped me. Give me this for Jack. Seen your campfire burning. Reckon I'd bring it right over.
Well, many thanks. Won't you sit down and rest a bit?
Oh, much obliged, but I reckon I'll travel along. Ain't slept none to speak of the past few nights. I have to be up at sunrise. That fool town of Lawson sure does keep you up nights. Claim panning out as good as ever.
Better every day. This morning we took a sample from the upper end, but we haven't touched it yet. It looks good, but we haven't panned it.
You all's out to get rich. You know how to keep money. Now, me and money never could get on no way. Ooh, they cleaned me out in Lawson this time. I reckon they'll clean me again the next time. City sure hell that away. Adios.
Goodbye. Poor Pete. Same old story, I guess. Been bucking the faro banks again. I wonder what this is. Jack has had no correspondence in the 5 years I've been with him. Maybe something important to do with the mine. I'd better open it, I guess. He won't mind anyway. I am waiting. Come. No name signed. And it's from New York, too. Well, it's too many for me. I give it up. Must be that fool operator got his names mixed up. I'd hate to see Jack obey any summons like that. He's about all I've got now, and I'd hate to see him leave just when we struck it rich. Yes, must be that this wire here is a mistake. Now, if only the upper end of the claim is as rich as what we've been working down here, here he comes. Welcome, wanderer. Where have you been all this time?
One of the horses slipped his hobbles, and I had quite a hunt for him. Finally found him down by the spring, wallowing around as if water were the commonest thing in this section of Arizona. Fool beast.
It is strange we should find water out here where the map says there isn't any. It's one blessing we found here in the land God forgot. We're fools for luck for once.
Yes, but we have small cause to kick about this lonely hole after all. Any country is God's country to a man if there is gold in it, and he finds it. There is gold here, and we found it. So long live the desert, say I.
Those are my sentiments. It seems our ship has finally come in here on the rim of the world. The luck was bound to change. We've had our share of the bad variety, just missing every jumping off point from South Africa to Alaska. And we've taken our hard knocks with the imitation of a laugh, at least. And we've been good pals ever since that day in the Transvaal where you hauled me out of the river, you saved my life, and our friendship began. No, now, you needn't try and stop me from expressing my gratitude. I haven't forgotten that day. I never will.
I'll go check what that prospect we took the other end of the claim looks like. Ah. Well.
Ah.
What do you make of that?
Of course it's gold, just as I expected. The upper end of the claim is just as rich as it is down here.
There's over a quarter of an ounce here, at least. That's $5 a pan. That's better than we've ever panned at any point down here since we made the strike 4 months ago. I tell you, this claim is too big for us to handle on our own. One of us ought to go east, organize a company.
Well then, it'll have to be you. I'm too old. Besides, I never cared much for civilization, and civilization never cared over much for me. You seem to be hankering after the East quite a bit the last month or so. Getting tired of the company here, eh?
No, that isn't so. After all the years we've been pals, all we've been through together.
Well, what is it? The attraction the effete East has to offer, huh? It's a woman, I suppose.
An angel, rather.
Well, they're all angels. At first. The trouble is their angelic attributes lack staying qualities. You'll find them hard to prove by my experience.
You're a disgusting cynic, and I refuse to argue. We've never been able to agree on that subject. I'm going to go hunt out that bottle we've been caring about for so long, and we will toast to the mine and future prosperity.
No.
Here it is. I think this is a proper occasion for celebration, don't you? The two prodigals welcome the fatted calf. Well, let's make it a christening also. To the Yvette Mine.
Why Yvette?
Oh, I know, it sounds like a rather frivolous name for a mine, but I have a hunch. There's a romance back of it. My romance. That was her name. Yeah, one rarely speaks of such things. I've never told you before, but I will now if you care to hear it. It was over a year before I met you. I had just been out of prospecting school for a short time, and I was mining around in the mountains of Peru, hoping to strike a bonanza there. At the time of which I speak, I had just returned to re-outfit a small mining camp in the frontier of Ecuador. It was there that I met her. She was the wife of a broken-down mining engineer from the States. According to all accounts, he was a drunken brute who left her alone most of the time and only lived from one drunk to another, but personally, I never saw him. It was probably better that I did not. See, I fell in love with her on the spot, and the thought of the way he treated her made my blood boil.
What was the name of that mining town? I've been in that country myself many years ago.
The San Sebastian, do you know it?
Yes. Yes, I know it. Go on.
I loved her. God, in the corrupt environment of a mining camp, she She seemed to me like a lily in a field of rank weeds. I longed to take her away from all that atmosphere of sordid sin and suffering, away from that drunken beast of a husband who was steadily ruining that young life and driving her to desperation. I overstayed my time. I should have been back in the mountain. I went to see her often. He was always away, it seemed. Finally, people began to talk, and I realized that the time had come, and I told her that I loved her. I shall never forget her face. She looked at me with great, calm eyes, but her lips trembled as she said, "I know you love me, and I love you. You must go away, and we must never speak to each other again. I am his wife, and I must keep my pledge."
You lie! What is it? What's the matter? What? No, nothing. Never mind.
What?
It's just my sore spot, the virtue of women. I haven't seen much of it in my mighty camp experiences. And well, your heroine to me seems too impossible.
Oh, you wouldn't have thought so if you could have seen her. Here is a picture of her she sent me a year ago. Look at it. You think a woman with a face like that could be the regular mining camp kind?
My wife. She has not changed.
Changed. Who, do you know her?
No! Of course not. She just reminds me of someone I knew long ago in the States.
Yvette's only 25. Her parents were poor French people. In a fit of mistaken zeal for her welfare, they married her off to this man when she was too young to know her own mind. They thought they had made an excellent match. Immediately after they were married, he dragged her off to San Sebastian, where he was half owner of a small mine there. It seems the devil broke out in him before they were hardly settled there. I'd like to be fair to him. Maybe he knew that she could never love him, and he was trying to drown the memory of the mistake he had made. He certainly loved her in this fashion.
Yes, he must have loved her in his fashion.
Ah, I forgot. I have proof positive of her innocence and noble-mindedness. Here is a letter she wrote and sent to me the morning I was leaving. It's only a few words. Read it, Mr. Doubting Thomas.
Her writing. I must keep my oath. He needs me, and I must stay. To be true to myself, I must be true to him. My God, I was wrong all along. Sometime I may send for you. Goodbye, signed Yvette. What does she mean by that last sentence?
When I left, I gave her my address in the States, and she promised she would send for me if she changed her mind or if conditions changed.
You mean if the drunken husband had died?
Yes, that's what I mean.
Well, how do you know he hasn't? Have you heard from her since?
Only the one time she sent me that picture I showed you. I received a letter in Cape Town a year ago. It had been forwarded from the States. She wrote to say that her husband had disappeared soon after I left. No one knew where he was, but the rumor was he had set out on my trail for vengeance, refusing to believe her innocence. I'm sorry he didn't find me.
Where is she now?
Living with her parents in New York. She wrote to say she would wait a year longer. And if she did not hear from him by then, she would become legally free of him and she would send for me. That year is up today. But I have received no word.
God, I cannot. Cheer up! Here's a surprise for you. Read this. Old Pete brought it on his way in from Lawson. I had completely forgotten about it till now. I opened it by accident, thinking it had something to do with the mine.
It's too good to be true. Tell me I'm not dreaming.
Congratulations.
Oh, never mind, old pal. I won't be gone long, and when I come back, I'll bring her with me.
No, that's all right. I'll manage. All right, on my own. Besides, one of us ought to stay out east for when the work here really starts.
Oh, when can I get the train?
If you ride hard and leave right away, you can probably make it into Lawson for the 3 in the morning.
Well, my horse is hobbled at the mouth of the canyon.
So, I have finally found him after all these years, and I cannot even hate him. What tricks fate plays with us. When we met the first day, I noticed that he had the same name as the man I was looking for, but he seemed such a boy to me, and my heart went out to him so strongly that I never for an instant harbored the idea that he was the same John Sloan that I had sworn to kill. Of course, he never knew my right name. I wonder what he would say if he knew. I have half a mind to tell him. But no. What's the use? Why should I mar his happiness? In this affair, I alone am to blame, and I must pay. As I listened to his story tonight, until no doubt remained in my mind that he was the John Sloan that I had sworn to kill, my hand went for my knife, and all that old hatred flared up in me. But then I saw his face as it was that day on the Transvaal, when he saved my life at risk of his own. I could almost hear his voice, the way it was that day when death was so near. You're all right, old pal. You're all right. Well, then my hand left my knife, and all that old hatred in me died out forever. Oh, what a fool I have been. She was true to me. She was true to me in spite of what I was. God bless him for telling me so. God grant they may both be happy. The only two beings I have ever loved. And I must wander on. I cannot be the ghost at their feast.
Goodbye, old pal. I'm sorry to leave you like this, but I've waited so long for this. You understand, don't you?
Yes. God bless you both. Goodbye. Goodbye. God knows no greater love than this. A man that giveth his friend for his wife. The sun is sinking in the west. The cattle go down to the stream. The redwing settles in his nest. It's time for a cowboy to dream. Purple eyes in the canyon, that's where I long to be, with my three good companions, just my rightful pony and me. Gonna hang my sombrero on the limb of a tree. Coming home, sweetheart darling, just my rightful pony and me. Whippoorwill in the willow sings a sweet melody, riding to Amarillo, just my rightful pony and me. No more cows to be roping, no more strays will I see. Round the bend she'll be waiting for my rightful pony and me, for my rightful, my pony and me. Well, goodness, this old thing's about as out of tune as I am. Maybe sing something a little higher. Waking up at 11 ain't so bad with you in my heart. But lately I've
been in ruins, waking up with an empty heart. When the bars ain't open, but the night keeps dragging on, I found myself reliving all the times I steered you wrong. Stranger, please come find me, falling through it all. With a pill and a beer, rum so clear, my eyes deceive me. With the scotch knocked off and a crying cough, I'm hoping you won't leave me. Ooh, ooh, oh. Lights go down in the city, I can barely see myself. I feel the tide getting heavy, but I'm too gone to ask for help. There's no wind blowing and no train to take me home. I don't know where I'm going, but that don't mean that I'm alone. Danger, please come find me, wandering down this road. With a pill and a beer, rum so clear, my eyes deceive me. With the scotch knocked off and a crying cough, I'm hoping you won't leave me. Ooh, oh my, I'm getting up there. I'm getting right up there in those feelings now. The stars shining above me, they make me sigh as I lay under this lonely Arizona sky. The letters that you wrote me, they drain me dry. I'm now out of whiskey and you're on my mind. 'Cause you don't love me anymore. So I'm crying on the desert floor. 'Cause you don't love me anymore. So I'm crying on the desert floor. I hope you can forgive me for all my life. I hope he makes you happy and treats you right. There's gold inside your memories, they bring me life. It's the only fire that warms
warms me on this cold, dark night. But you don't love me anymore. So I'm hiding on the desert floor. No, you don't love me anymore. So I'm crying on the desert floor.
I best be getting on now.
I wonder what can be keeping him so long. Oh, hello, Jack. I was just beginning to think you were lost.
It ain't Jack. It's me.
Hello, Pete. What brings you around this time of night?
Oh, I was just leaving Lawson when the operator stopped me and give me this for Jack. Seen your campfire burning, reckon I'll bring it right over.
Many thanks. Why don't you sit down, rest a bit?
Oh, much obliged, but I reckon I'll travel along. Ain't slept none to speak of the past few nights. I have to be up at sunrise. Whew, that fool town of Lawson sure does keep you up nights. Claim panning out as good as ever.
Better every day. We took a sample from the upper part, which we haven't touched so far. It looks good, but we haven't panned it yet.
Now, you boys ought to get rich. You know how to keep money. Now, me and money never could get on no way. They cleaned me out in Lawson this time. I reckon they'll clean me again the next time. The city is sure hell that away. Adios.
Goodbye. Poor Pete. I've been bucking the Faro Bank again, I suppose. I wonder what this is. Jack has had no correspondences in the 5 years I've been with him. It might be something important in connection with the mine. I guess I better open it. Yeah, he won't mind anyway. I am waiting. Come. No name sign. It comes from New York, too. Well, it's too many for me. I give it up. Must be that fool operator got mixed up in his names. I'd hate to see Jack obey any summons like this. He's about all I've got now, And the thought of him leaving just when we've struck it rich, it must be this wire is all a mistake anyway. Now, if only the upper part of the claim is as rich as that we've been working, oh, here he comes now. Welcome, wanderer. Where have you been all this time?
One of the horses slipped his hobbles and I had quite the hunt for him. I finally found him down by the spring, wallowing about as if water were the commonest thing in this part of Arizona, full of beasts.
It is strange that we should find water out here where the maps say there isn't any. It's the one blessing we've found out here in this land God forgot. We are fools for luck for once.
Yes, but we have small cause to kick about this lonely hole after all. You see, any place is God's country to a man if there's gold in it, and he finds it. Well, there's gold here, and we found it. So, long live the desert, say I.
Those are my sentiments.
Oh.
It sure seems as if our ship had come in at last here on the rim of the world. The luck was due to change. We've had our share of the bad variety. Just missing a strike in every jumping off point from South Africa to Alaska. We've taken our hard knocks with the imitation of a laugh at any rate, and we've been good pals ever since that day in the Transvaal 5 years ago when you saved my life, pulled me out of the water, and our friendship began. No, you needn't stop me from trying to express my gratitude. I haven't forgotten that day, and I never will.
I'm going to check that prospect we took this morning at the upper end. What do you think of this?
Of course. Gold. Just as I expected. The upper end of the claim is just as rich as it is down here.
There's a quarter of an ounce here at least. That's $5 a pan. Better than we've ever panned at any time since we made that strike 4 months ago. I'm telling you, one of us ought to head east and organize a company.
Oh, and it'll have to be you. I'm too old. Anyway, I never could get along with civilization, and civilization never cared over much for me. You seem to be hankering after the East quite a lot in the last month or so. Getting tired of the company here, eh?
No, you know that's not so after everything we've been through and all the years we've been pals.
And what is the attraction the effete East has to offer? It's a woman, I suppose?
An angel, rather.
They're all angels. At first. The only trouble is their angelic attributes lack staying qualities. At any rate, you'd find them hard to prove by my experience.
You're a disgusting cynic, and I refuse to argue. You know, you and I could never agree on that subject anyway. Here, I'm gonna hunt out that bottle we've been carrying around all this time, and we'll toast to the mine and to future prosperity. Here it is. I think now's a proper celebration hour. The two prodigals welcome in the fatted calf. And you know what? Let's make it a christening as well. Here's to the Yvette mine.
Why the Yvette?
I know. It's a rather frivolous sounding name for a mine, but I have a hunch. There's a romance back to it. My romance. That's her name. Now, one rarely speaks of such things. I've never told you about it, but I will now if you care to listen. Well, it was over a year before I met you. I was prospecting around in the mountains of Peru, hoping to hit a bonanza there. At the time I speak of, I had returned to re-outfit at a small mining camp near the frontier of Ecuador. And that's where I met her. She was the wife of a broken down mining engineer. According to all accounts, he was a drunken brute who left her alone most of the time and only lived from one drunk to another. Well, I never saw him personally, but it's probably better that I did not. You see, I fell in love with her on the spot, and the thought of how he treated her made my blood boil.
What was the name of that mining camp you mentioned? I've spent some time in that country myself many years ago.
San Sebastian. Do you know it?
Yes, I know it. Go on.
I loved her. And in the corrupt environment of a mining camp, she stood out like a lily in a field of rank weeds. I longed to take her away from that environment of sordid sin and suffering, from her beast of a husband who was quickly ruining that young, beautiful life and driving her to desperation. Well, I overstayed my time. I should have been back up in the mountains, but I came and I saw her often. Finally, people started to talk. I realized that the time had come, so I told her that I loved her. And I'll never forget her face. She looked at me with these great, calm eyes, but her lips trembled as she said, "I know you love me. And I love you too. But you must go away. And we must never see each other again. You see, I am his wife, and I must keep my pledge."
You
What? What is it? What's the matter?
No. Nurse, I guess. It's my sore spot. The virtue of women. I've seen but little of it in my mining camp experiences, and your heroin seems to me too impossible.
Well, you wouldn't have thought so if you could seen her. Here, I have a picture. She sent me this a year ago. Now, you tell me if a woman with a face like that could be the regular mining camp sort.
My wife. She has not changed.
Changed? Who? Do you know her?
No, of course not. But she reminds me of a girl I knew in the States many years ago.
Yvette is only 25. Her parents were poor French people who, in a fit of mistaken zeal for her welfare, married her to him when she was too young to know her own mind. They thought they were making an excellent match. Immediately, he took her off to San Sebastian, where he was half owner of a mine out there. Seems the devil broke out in him before they were even settled there. You know, I'd like to be fair to him. Maybe he knew she could never love him, and he was trying to drown the memory of the mistake he'd made. He certainly loved her in his fashion.
Yes. He must have loved her in his fashion.
I almost forgot. I have proof positive of her innocence and noble-mindedness. Here is a letter she wrote me and sent to me the day I was leaving. It's only a few words. Read it, Mr. Doubting Thomas.
Her writing. I must keep my oath. He needs me and I must stay. To be true to myself, I must be true to him. My God, I was wrong after all. Sometime I may send for you. Goodbye. Signed, Yvette. What does she mean by that last part?
When I left, I gave her my address in the States, and she promised to write me if she changed her mind or if circumstances changed.
You mean if the drunken husband died?
Yes, that's what I mean.
Well, how do you know he hasn't? Have you heard from her since?
Just the one time when she sent that photo I showed you. I received it in Cape Town about a year ago. She had it forwarded from the States. She wrote to tell me that her husband had disappeared shortly after I left. No one knew where he went. Rumor was that he had set off on my trail for vengeance, and I tell you, I'm sorry he didn't find me.
Have you heard from her since?
Just the once, like I said. She wrote to tell me that if I waited one more year and he had not returned to her, she'd be legally free of him. And she'd call for me. Well, that year is up today, and I have received no word.
Cheer up! Here's a surprise for you. Read this. Old Pete brought it from Boston before he returned. I forgot all about it. I opened it by mistake, thinking it had something to do in connection with the mine.
Why, this is too good to be true. Tell me I'm not dreaming.
Congratulations.
Oh, no! Don't worry, old pal. I won't be gone long, and when I return, I'll bring her with me.
No! No, I'll manage all right. Better stay east for a while. We'll need you there when the work really starts.
When can I catch a train?
If you ride fast and start right away, you can make it in time to Lawson for the 3 a.m. limited.
My horse? My horse is hobbled down by the mouth of the canyon.
So, I have found him after all these years, and I cannot even hate him. What tricks fate plays with us. When I met him that first day, I realized his name was the same as the man's I was looking for. But he seemed such a boy to me, and my heart went out to him so strongly that I never for an instant harbored the idea that he could be the John Sloan I was looking for. Of course, he never knew my right name. I wonder what he would say if he knew. I have half a mind to tell him, but what's the use? Why should I mar his happiness? In this affair, I alone am to blame, and I must pay. As I listened to his story tonight, until no doubt remained in my mind that he was the John Sloan I had sworn to kill, my hand reached for my knife, and all that old hate flared up in my heart. But then I remembered his face as he looked that day in the Transvaal, after bending over me to save my life at the risk of his own. I could almost hear his voice as he spoke that day when death was so near. You're all right, old pal. You're all right. Then my hand left my knife and all that old hate died out forever. I could not do it. Oh, what a fool I've been. She was true to me. In spite of what I was. God bless him for telling me so. God grant they may both be happy. The only two beings I have ever loved. And I must keep wandering on. I cannot be the ghost at their feast.
Bye, old pal. Now, I hate to be leaving you like this, but I've waited so long. You understand?
Yes. Bye. God bless you both.
Bye.
Greater love hath no man than this, and he that giveth his friend for his wife.